Hey guys, and welcome back. As always, it is Jason or Jessica, whichever you prefer. And today's video is going to be all about Halloween decorations. Opal, do you really want to be the center of attention in this video? That's what I thought. So this year for Halloween, I decided I needed more Pokemon. And what better way than make signs for my yard? So today we're going to talk about the long process it was of making these signs. My cat is still being a nuisance. Okay guys, first things first, we need to talk supplies. Now, you don't need a crazy amount of things. There are a few things not here, such as our jigsaw, a projector, which is optional, and of course the plywood itself to make the signs. Now, you do not need to get any specific brand. If you already have a brand you like of anything, go ahead and use that. These are just the things I used. We used primer, indoor, outdoor primer and sealer. Acrylic paints. Now, you got to use acrylic paints specifically because they are a plastic paint. They will not run when wet, especially after drying. They can still run when they're drying, but not after they dried. Our clear acrylic coating. This is also very important. I found a kind that protects against UV rays and moisture. So these three things combined is what's really going to help you keep it good when it rains. My signs have already been through the rain a few times, so we'll take a look at what they look like after it has rained. Paintbrushes. You don't need a ton. You can go to Target, get a pack of like 6 for $5, and you're good. You don't need anything special. Same thing with sponge brushes. This is what I used for like big areas. It just works really well, and it's not as streaky as like a regular paintbrush might be. Again, it was like $5 for a pack of like 15. Super cheap. You don't have to necessarily wash them if you don't want to afterwards. Your water jar for cleaning your paintbrushes. Now, acrylic paint really should not be sent down your drain because it's plastic. You don't want them in the waterways. So what I do is I have a paint water jar, and if I'm not going to use it for a while, I have a few paint jars. I just let the water evaporate, and then all the paint just sits at the bottom, and then it never goes down the drains. And hardware. So these are specifically for the Phantom sign that you'll see later. We got some eye hooks and a chain, and that is how I put them up. Our very first step is going to be mapping out what we want. So we're taking our big piece of plywood, and I am tracing out the shapes I am trying to get. I did try to use a projector to make it a little bit easier on myself. The projector was bad. It did not work. So I am freehanding most of this, which is kind of insane. The projector helped me get like proportions, but it did not help me get actual shapes. So tracing is the biggest step. You want to get your tracing right because it is going to pretty much mark out how the rest of the project is going to go. Once you get that done, you are going to cut it out with a jigsaw. My husband was so gracious to help me. I did not record the next step, but you can tell that our sign is completely primed. That is what you want to do first. I put 2 layers on every side, and then what I did is I took my big thick Sharpie and I outlined exactly how I wanted this to be. So it's easiest to start with the outside outlines, obviously, but you want to get the details because it will make the painting process so much easier if you're not having to paint over other colors. So mapping that out where it wants to go is very important. You can make mistakes in this process. Depending on what colors you use, though, you want to be careful still. Lighter colors like yellow will make it harder to cover up mistakes, but dark colors like brown will make it very easy to cover up your mistakes. Step number 5 in our process is going to be doing our big areas of color. You can use a palette. I ultimately decided to just start plopping paint on here and spreading it out. You will use quite a bit of paint, but luckily acrylic paint is pretty cheap. I get all of mine from Target. They're $1 per bottle. So ultimately the paint is not too expensive, so don't worry about using too much here. I did 3 layers of color on the front side and 2 layers of color on the back side. You don't need the color to be as solid on the back, but I still painted it for that extra coat of protection from the weather. Keep in mind, even though we are taking all these steps to try and protect these signs from the weather, they are still going to break down at some point in time, just not right away. Weather is always going to break down your decorations. It's just how it is. The next part is painting all of the detail colors. So all of our smaller sections, if your base colors are dry, then adding your shadows and other dimensions that you want. Again, these things are all personal preference. If you just want to have just plain colors and not have shading and all that, you don't have to. After we are happy with all of our painting and details, I'm going back in with our big thick Sharpie to crisp up all of these black outlines. I'm a messy painter, so a lot of these lines either got covered up or are just not as nice as they were originally. Another optional step that I decided to do, because I just felt like it gave my pieces a more finished look, is I painted all of the edges black. It just made sense to me with the black outline to continue that on the sides, and it really just made the pieces look complete to me. Here is the hardware that I used on the signs that stand in my yard. I just took a garden stake, and I believe these are for like bathroom piping, and drilled them on. And here is our finished product. I am so happy with how they turned out. This is actually about a few days after. It has already rained twice, and you can see these have not moved. I did forget to mention, after you paint them, you want to spray them with our acrylic coating, and you can tell no running, so they look great. That's all for me today, guys. I hope you learned something today. Don't forget to comment down below what your favorite ghost type is. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really supports my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!